Okay, well here's a job I've done a lot of over the years, I can tell you. This is the latest Acom 2000A, which we've been dealers for Acom for many years, probably early 2000s. And we initially came across them because of the defence applications and bits and pieces that we could see for these, and can't go into too much detail there, but certainly what you're looking at here is definitely been approved by defence grade armed forces all over the world. It's an amplifier that they find extremely simple to service in some of the worst terrains around the world, no question. And it's certainly been something that has had some great comments over the years, and excuse me, and of course they've really stood the test of time. And I can't go into just exactly where these are fitted, but certainly some spots around the place that are definitely get some pretty terrible temperatures, and they certainly have a bit of work to do. Okay, a lot of people always ask me, why does the Acom come in two boxes? All right, and that's a fair call. So an Acom comes packed pretty much as the dealer. We basically got to pull the lid off, and you'll find in here, like so, is your little box that talk about using space effectively. They've used the space where the transformer goes to pop that box in there, and that box is just pull that out, controller, and underneath the controller there's a divider that has the interface cord that goes in there. And I suppose what I should show you, because it didn't all end up on my kitchen bench. By the way, I don't normally do these on kitchen benches. I just got a couple of things on the workshop at the moment that is taking up a bit of space, some big heavy stuff, and I thought, you know what, this is very easy, this job, but let me just show you something else. So this is the huge box that the Acom comes in, and that's the amplifier itself, and then there's another box sitting right over there in the midst over there where the transformer comes in. Now when you get your Acom, the good news is, now this is in our guest room at the moment, I'm having to pop this box in here. When you get this, they're very easy to pull out because they have these two handles on the side that allow you to pull that straight out of the box. And yeah, it's brilliant how they do it. As you can see, all the stuff's got to be out. We've got guests staying here Saturday, and I've just used the guest room for things like Icoms, and there's some more Yasus over there somewhere. I don't know. Anyway, and there's my cat, Tyrion. Tyrion, hello. Say hello. Good boy. All right. Anyway, I thought I'd just show you how we completely desecrate a guest bedroom. And oh, that's another 775. Actually, got a few 775s at the moment. A long story. That one's actually sold. That's going out to a customer. There's another box one over there that's not sold yet. But anyway. So back onto the Acom itself. Now, Acom set this up for us every time based on the voltages that we tell them that we're going to be using. Now, with us, because we sell Acom internationally, it can vary, as to where the amplifiers are going to, the final spot they're going to end up. So we generally want to check every box and make sure that that we're correct there. As you can see there, the 220 volt bars are being selected in there, and that's going to work beautifully. But yeah, so what happens, and in a sec we'll show you, is that it's really for the dealer. Look, it's not. You don't really need to be an overly. I mean, we're the service centre here for Acom, have been for years, and we've fixed a lot of Acoms. Sort of more, to be honest, second-hand ones that have been around. We normally find Acoms. We don't even see them for the first 10 years, and then we've had a few 1000As with a couple of little tricky faults. 9 times out of 10, it's generally voltage related, or a tube that started to get a bit soft, but we don't necessarily see them. Something like this I wouldn't expect to see for a very long time. They've got a really good ability to just keep going. But yes, so basically we've got 4 connections. And don't get me wrong, I don't want just anybody playing around with these amplifiers. If you don't have any background in these, come and see us. We'll help you out. There's no problems. It's we don't, well, it's more than don't mind. We actually prefer that, you know, sort of we give you a hand with anything like this. It's extremely rare, maybe sometimes when we drop ship to defence and that, but it's very rare that we don't see the amp first. The other thing too is, of course, we need to you know, fit plugs on the end to get it to plug in, because poking wires into slots won't do. All right, well, I'm going to put this transformer in. A bit of a trick, these transformers weigh a ton, so a bit of a trick we've learnt is you just run them off the side of the bench, line up your two holes here, and get those two screws in first. Once you've got those in nicely, you can pop it on its side, no problems, pop the other two screws in. But if you try and do it with the amp on its side or anything, no, that won't work. So just give yourself a little bit of a lip there, just to pop your screws in, and you'll find you'll save yourself a lot of frustration and not drop anything. Just another point, just do two in there quite loose initially. When you feel like you've got that, you know, absolutely sitting correctly, then yeah, you certainly can tighten those up, and then just pop the other two in there, no problems. When you've got it on its side, and the reason we just don't tighten those up completely to the last second is you'll see how these just drop nicely into place. So when you go to do these, nice and finger tight, and you can just pop them in there, and they will just go up, and you'll do the other one up as well. As you can see, see how you can see there's a little mark where we tightened up initially, and just and what will happen is as we tighten those up there, you'll find that is just perfect just to have that in there. But yeah, they can be a little bit fiddly sometimes, just not overly. More if you tighten these up too tight initially and you're too far over to the right. I've got a bit of an art form these days where I just honestly can sort of feel where the transformer is. I've done so many of them, I just know. But if you're doing your first one, just take your time with it. We do gun these up, but I have this on fairly low torque, but we do gun these on so that these are, you know, nice and they're not going anywhere. Look, just make sure, if you do it with a hand screwdriver, you need to really get, I'd prefer you use a little quick impact driver just to get that last little bit of tightness on them, but we probably do it more for the speed of it. Now when you're doing this last bit here, just remember the D sections, so there are D sections on the bottom, so the round sections are on the top, the D sections are on the bottom. So when you put, if you try to do it the opposite way around, you'll find it won't fit. When you put the D sections in like this, hey presto, absolutely goes in there beautifully. And obviously just make sure your little pieces here are out the way, and then you can it's funny, a lot of people sort of ask us, they've seen previous videos, do we leave this in or out? And I've done both, to be honest. It depends if it's a military application, and you know, sort of we think that, hey, you know, sort of they may need to do some service work at times. They have an annual clean out of these things, just so you know, in military. So every year these are pulled down, they're blown out, basically just for dust on military remote sites, etc. So they do pull the transformer out with it to do that. So for them, you know, we can leave the strap in there. As I said, I've done both. I really don't think you're causing any great issues either way. But you know, once again, if it bothers you, you know, pull it out. If it doesn't, well, I don't think it's doing too much. Okay, so really, then you've just got your AC lines that just going through, and they just click on quite easily. There's a little DC line there. Actually, that's not AC line there. Sorry, I'll be right. And that's because that's 300 volts, I think, from memory. And over we go, and there we go. All right, so I'm not watching the camera very closely. I'm trying to do things a bit one-handed here, but yeah. Let's just sort of sneak these cables away a little bit, you know, sort of, and tuck them down. But certainly, no big issue. But certainly, yeah, try and, you know, clean them up a little bit. And when I've got two hands, I'll sort that out. But there you go. So that's basically how we get an Acom 2000A. Now, always give, we always give the client this bit of board. we give them the original boxes. So what we do is we pop, I'll be right, we pop this section here, we tape this on, which would have been smarter. We tape this onto the original box. Now the reason is if that person ever sells that amplifier and needs to transport it, he's going to have the same problem. He's got this very, very heavy box where, you know, sort of you are going to have a lot less hassles with couriers, etc. with 2 boxes around, you know, 20 odd kilos. But this amp will weigh, you know, in excess of 40 kilos when it's in one piece. And I generally have always pulled the transformers for shipping, but then again, I've always had the, you know, the plate and bits and pieces to. It's just a better way to go. Now, the other thing that you didn't see, sorry, bit of a system here where I use my wife's baking tray for all the screws. Acom 2000s come with these 2 little fellas in here. Now they sit up against the case. They've got some nice little rubbers. Well, they're more like a felt, sorry, that sits there. It holds the valves in place for transit. It means that we don't, you know, get any sort of rocking or anything silly like that. And yes, by the way, I have grounded out everything just before I touch it. There's very little chance there'd be any bolts in there, but anyway. And they come with a little thing that says remove the plastic tubes holder inside before using this amplifier, which is really a good idea because they will melt and they will really cause a bit of trouble. But, you know, just so you can sort of get a bit of an idea of the brains behind the Acoms. Obviously, when we service, we've got to, you know, sometimes pull them down a bit further than this. But as you can see, the board down here is the microcontroller, etc., etc. That's quite a smart design, as you're well aware. Obviously, we've got some motors here that impact the capacitance, inductance settings, and that's the thing about the Acom 2000 is that it's not only the quietest amplifier on the market, by a mile actually, and I mean that. I had a customer recently who said to me, he said, there's 2 things I'm having trouble with my OM amplifier. And I said, look, I love OM amplifiers. I don't mind saying. I think their big chunky one is, you know, pretty bloody good. And he said, yeah, but he said, I'm in a small room and the noise of the things drive me mental, and also the heat in the room, you know, sort of is certainly builds up very fast. As I said to him, I said, I can't help you with the heat because it's, I'm in a reasonable sized room myself with my own Acom 2000A. But yeah, I notice, you know, it's in winter, it's a great asset. And in summer, sure, you know, run a bit of air conditioning. But yes, the noise of the 2000A, the blower is just unbelievably quiet. This blower they use in here, which is sufficient. And as I said, look, you know, without going into detail, we've got these amplifiers up on the north coast of Australia in some defence applications, and I won't kid you. Look, you know, they're in air-conditioned huts. They have to be, you know, sort of with the other equipment that's being run in there, and we've got bays of these. Anyway, without going into too much detail, but and it's one of the things that the techs love is that, you know, it's such a quiet amplifier. But yes, heat with all these amplifiers is something that, you know, when you're trying to work out where you're going to put your Acom 2000 and where you want to position it, etc. You know, the whole concept of having this remote head, you know, allows you so much flexibility, because that's the only thing you need near your radio as an amateur radio operator. It really will, you know, sort of go, you know, you can have a few meters away. You can, I know one amateur who's actually got it in a different room to, and he's done that only because of the heat side of it. He wanted to not have any heat issues with the amplifier. Now, when I say heat, I'm not talking that, you know, you've got a 40-degree room every day of the week. You'll notice the temperature of the room after a few hours of having the amp on, that it will change a little bit by a few degrees, but I'm not talking about a huge lot. My cat wants to go outside and it's screaming at me. Just give me a second. Okay, well, that's made my cat a lot happier. But this has been a good chance to have you look at just the internals of an Acom 2000, how robustly they're built. They really are. It really is a, you know, sort of an amazing amplifier, which it's you know, a real credit to Acom. Their build quality on everything they build is superb. It really is. And, you know, 20 years of buying and being involved in their product, and it has been. And, you know, I've got to say, it's something where I've really enjoyed the experience because, you know, as a chap that does warranty work for Acom, there hasn't been that much work. I mean, you know, if I was being paid by the hour and I wanted to create a career in Acom repairs, I'd be in a bit of trouble because yeah, it wouldn't be good. But that's a really good, you know, sort of thing about Acom. And just so you know, more often than not, let's say that I present Val at Acom with a warranty situation. Let's say what's a good example? I haven't had any 2000s that were warranties. We did have one of the early, one of Jeff Proudfoot's amps, one of the early semiconductor amps that had an issue. And just to give you an idea how Acom reacts to it, number one, they react to it very fast. But number two, they actually sent a board out and said, hey, we reckon this is going to fix it. Our apologies, not sure what's gone on here, but here's another board, change it out. And that sorted the problem out. 9 times out of 10, I'm not having to play technician and replace 2 caps on your board. Acom don't work that way. If there's a micro fault here, they send me a board. If there's a fault, a power supply fault here, they send me a board. Relay fault, send me a board. Anything that they so you might say, well, exactly how smart are you, Brenton, as far as being a technician in, you know, sort of your ability to fix valve amps? And I would say to that, I don't need to be. I just don't. I have the support of some incredible guys who understand that I've been around amps for a long time, but also understand that, you know, I take every word they say and absolutely, you know, sort of follow the rules. And they've got a lot of printouts for us technician types too, on just different things, disassembly, powering down, how not to kill yourself, blah, blah, blah. The amount of stuff that comes out of Acom is that you don't see as a customer, but we see from the service side of it, is it makes your job, it's not hard, let's just say that. But as I said, don't get too many faults with Acom, so that's the good news. You know, but like anything in life, when it does go faulty, I think some of you had a bit of a listen to me the other day about me complaining about Yaesu, and I'm not going to go back into that again, but I sincerely believe that unless you're represented by good warranty repair agents or people that are, you know, sort of, look, Icom's probably a good example as well as Acom, where Acom have got good people in country that are able to, you know, swap out and sort problems out very fast. Acom have got a full service centre sitting here ready to go. And when you're buying, you know, please put some value on that, because seriously, especially with Acom, if I went into them many times, Acom have saved my butt within days, you know, sort of a problem. Look, it just goes on and on. Those guys, they're just too good. That recent situation with Yaesu, that's dealers fighting. That's dealers not getting on. That's people with their own internal fights that you and me as customers shouldn't need to see. I don't care whether one dealer's getting on with another. I don't care if one dealer sold it and the other dealer's not going to, you know, touch it. At the end of the day, someone's got to teach them to be more like Acom and teach them that, no, even when you've got a customer who, you know, who's bought a product from some, you know, one of the other dealers, represent the brand. Don't take your anger out on the person who's trying to get a radio fixed. I was trying to get it for a severely handicapped man at the time, and he was in a lot of trouble. Look, what I do want to say about that situation, Andrew's Communications came to the rescue in the end. So without going into great detail, the people that everybody told me, oh, they won't help you, they came to the rescue. They sorted it. They did it. So let me just be very clear on that. I'm not going to go into the whole story right now. I'm not going to tell you who the bad guys were or who was very short with me and blah, blah, blah. No need for that. What I will tell you, thank you, you know, to Andrew's Comms, because that situation got sorted, and yeah, it was a pleasure to see that there was that happening. Yes. Anyway, okay, that's enough on that. Back to Acom. We'll put this thing together, and what I'll do is, only that I haven't got the room, I'm just going to do a quick 101 on the Acom 2000 working. I'm going to be very honest here. I'm going to take you over to my own shack and just show you one. I've got the exact same amp sitting there. It means I don't have to edit this video. If I start this, I've got to start editing, but I can just quickly give you a final conclusion. Just for your knowledge, we will be testing this briefly, but just under dummy load, and just to give it a quick test. This one's going to a full cool amateur. I'm not able to give his name or information because he's asked me not to disclose to anybody that he's actually bought this amplifier. He's certainly capable of owning it, and certainly has a full cool license. And that's okay, because we get customers at times who they just don't need the rest of the world knowing how much money they're spending. To give you an idea, this amplifier, I suppose we should talk about that. In Australian dollars, is around about $13,000 to $14,000 roughly. So that'll just give you some sort of idea. What people negotiate, is certainly something that there's obviously flexibilities and different things. Just the other thing I wanted to point out too, another new Acom dealer, DXing, which is Nick Hacko in Sydney. So if you're in Sydney, please, my job is to support the brand. We've been service agents for Acom for 20 years. Sure, we make sales, and that's fine, and we'd love you to buy an amplifier from us, but also want to support the dealers who are selling them as well. And so you've got Nick Hacko in Sydney with Sydney Watches. Nick and I, well, he's a bit more than a Rolex fan. I'm a Rolex fan. He's a Rolex. He's Rolex. He's definitely got a few more watches than I do. But let me say, Nick's a great guy to deal with. And also, don't forget, Lee's been doing a great job with Acom for many years, and Lee's got a lot of different brands here. Actually, he's as I said, my job's not to get a sale from you today. I'm not interested in that. Money I've got enough of. We're not certainly out there trying to steal somebody's sale. Not even interested. I'd rather support those that are going to be around when I'm not, because I'm not here forever. And I really think the boys are doing a great job. I think the introduction of Nick with Ross going, I think Nick's going to fill quite a gap there, and I think his efforts with his emails and his information coming out, the spirit of amateur radio is certainly obvious in his information that he's putting out. And hey, Nick was the guy that supplied me the headset for $99 the other day. Where do you get a Heil headset for $99? Well, I can tell you get it from Nick Hacko. It's excellent. Haven't used it yet, Nick, but we put the 705 together as a video the other day, and just mentioned a little bit about what you're up to. All right, let's have a look at a working Acom 2000 that's probably got a bit of dust on it because it's mine. Okay, so this is my personal shack, which I've just quickly grabbed a rag and made look a little bit cleaner because it was disgusting. This is the that light's not going to work, is it? Let's have a look. Less light works better. This is the Acom controller. Now I've got it set up with cat control coming out of the Acom, and pretty much that means that whenever I change a band, so let's say that I decide to go 3.5 megs, bingo, it goes to 3.5 megs. It's already made the adjustments it needs, and then we've just gone over to 14 megs like so. So it's following me wherever I want to go. It's doing what I need to do. Now it does even more than that. So I'm going to go back to 7 megs. Now that little noise you're hearing is just the motors adjusting. It does no more, no less than that. It's quite amazing how fast that happens. So have a look at this. 7100. Now every 100 kcs, see that? It's just changed, and it's realized that, oh yeah, you're down that part of the band. So it's just talking to it. Now, if I didn't have cat control sorted out, no problem. Believe it or not, no problem at all. Don't really even need to. I can pretty much, now let's take cat off. Oh no, that's cat set. I knew I was going to hit the wrong button then. I thought, if anyone could get this wrong, hang on. Let's get out of that. And 2 seconds. Right, sorry, what I wanted to show you is, now, let's say what I've done, now, it's saying cat there, but I've taken the cat off. So here's the function. That's cat mode on, cat mode off. So let's say I go to 28 megs, but I've got no cat section, lead plugged in. Watch this. All I'm going to do is blow in the microphone. Look at that. Straight away. All I did was blow in the microphone, and I'll do it again with a bit of a broader view. We'll go back to 7 megs. So you're seeing the whole thing happen. Here we go. 1, 2. See how that just all went kaplunk? Absolutely. Now, all right, a couple of things we need to do here just to sort of make sure we're legal. I will do a quick dummy load test at some stage, but just for the fact that we're on the antenna, let's just go to 70995, sorry, make sure nobody's there. VK3 Charlie Mike testing, just want to check anybody using the frequency, please. Okay, now we're looking good. All right, let me just get this set up. Okay, so just going to do a 400 watt test. Now, to show you what that is, on my screen here somewhere. Ah, there we go. So I'm putting 13 watts sideband. VK3 Charlie Mike testing. Now, on that there, that looks a little low, but over here, it's showing 351 watts on this meter. Bit interested on this meter because actually I'm showing more what the Acom's showing over here on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I think I've got a little issue with my LP500, which is it does seem to be very high at the moment, where I would trust the Acom here a heck of a lot more. So let's just take that up a little bit, because I would have thought for 400 watts, now let's just make sure that doesn't, that's better. 1, 2, 1, 2, yeah. So, and actually that's agreeing with us quite nicely over here too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. No, I think we'll just, the LP's looking a little bit high. Now, I'm using 18 watts of drive to get 400 watts. So, you know, that's pretty impressive. But what I've got to do, I've got to go to dummy load, so I just need to quickly, it's in the other room, I'm just going to go grab that and hook that up. Okay, I'm not going to go too silly because my dummy load won't like me, but just have a bit of a look here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so we're, you know, 1400 watts there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, they're just hang on, I've got to throw my antenna switch again. Okay, now back onto an antenna. I just thought we'd come over to 10 meters and show you just exactly. Let's just come down from 490. I don't think they'll appreciate us on 490 doing a test. There's all this talk about 490 at the moment. Yes, it's not a legal call channel, I get it. But, you know, a few of us do use it. And, hey, you know, all I'll say is if I'm on 490, I make the contact. I'm going to drop down 20 kcs to keep my friends. Anyway, all right. Okay, so once again, this is just auto... oh, actually it didn't auto, sorry, I had to do this. I went 1, 2 like that, and it came over to the band, but once I hit the cat there, it wouldn't have needed. So let's just do that again. So there we go, from 7 megs, we've got 2 choices where we either go to 28 megs like this with the cat function, does it all automatically, or let's go back there, let's take the cat function off, let's go back to 28,480, 1, 2, 3. So can you see what I'm saying? It doesn't really matter. The cat thing is not actually giving you a lot of advantage. So if you don't hook it up, don't feel too terrible. You're really not going to be feeling that it's a big issue. All right, let's have another look here. Where are we? Yeah, just make sure our input power. Once again, input power of 13 watts should give us about 400 watts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, look at that. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. VK3 Charlie Mike testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. There you go. Okay, so this big box over here, which you haven't heard a blower come on, you haven't heard. Oh, can you believe the dust? Acom are they're gonna kill me. They're going to say, listen, mate, it's been nice having you as a dealer for 20 years, but, mate, anyone who keeps that much dust on their Acom, you can go and... Anyway, all right. But there you go. Acom 2000, that's how they work. They're the most simplest, easiest to play with amplifier on the market. They really are. And, you know, I call them the amplifier for life. I really do. That, you know, look, I get it. Not everybody's got, you know, 12, 13, 14 grand, whatever the, you know, cost might be to outlay on an amplifier. But the chap that's picking up the one we've displayed today, you know, he agreed with me. He said, look, you know, sort of, I absolutely, you know, sort of know that this is my last amplifier I'm ever going to buy. And I know this guy very well, and I know it won't be the last amplifier he buys, but it'll be one that he'll keep for life. He'll buy more. He's like me, he's terrible. But anyway, all right, hopefully this has given you a bit of an idea on the Acom 2000A. Just seems fitting to go out calling, hang on. It just seems fitting to call CQ on, I wonder if there's anything happening on 490. But this is it in action. Calling CQ, VK3 Charlie Mike, running 400 watts on an Acom 2000A. Calling CQ, calling CQ, VK3 Charlie Mike on 28490. Just testing an Acom 2000A. What did I say before? Anyway, Acom 2000A at 400 watts, I think is what I meant to say. VK3 Charlie Mike on 28490. I wonder if anybody's copying. Couldn't get that lucky and someone's actually out there. That's better. I had my PBT on. I must have knocked the passband tuning. No one on 28 megs by the sounds of it. VK3 Charlie Mike, off and clear. Thanks very much for watching this Acom video, guys. All the best.